have the original upgrades from Starcraft 1 where you increase the speed and you allow them to transport units. For now, I'm just going to go ahead and get the speed, as that's really the only one I'm going to cover in this tutorial. The other one, just like I said, it lets you transport units, so you've likely used a dropship before, so you get an idea of how that works. So anyways, under the Overlord, you'll see that it does have couple buttons here. First one, morph into Overseer. Something that is very important to cover that is new in StarCraft 2 is changed from StarCraft 1. Overlords in their normal form do not detect stealth units. They do not detect stealth units. So what you need to do in order to make them detect stealth units is, and also bird, is you need to morph it into an Overseer. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And while that's building, I'm going to look at another Overlord and show you the other, yep, the speed upgrade's done, thank God, show you the other upgrade, and that is the ability to generate creep. So what it'll do, it'll start spewing creep from its, I don't even want to know what it comes from, but it'll spew it from its underbelly and just pretty much just start pouring it out. This is really useful for, you know, if you want to put down some static defenses at the front line, or if you want to kind of get a quick speed boost and you don't have time to wait for the creep tumor to get there, or if you even want to carry a queen in the Overlord, drop it down and put a creep tumor on this creep, and then the creep will become permanent. You can do that as well, because you'll see once I move this Overlord, he does stop making the creep. The creep will rescind back to its back to nothing, actually. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that there as he is doing his job. And this is the Overseer, what we built a few minutes ago. The Overseer, by default, does have the speed upgrade, even if you do not research the speed upgrade for the Overlords. This, when you make it into an Overseer, it will get that speed upgrade. It does have a couple of abilities. Number one, Spawn Changeling. What this is kind of a stealth scout. When it encounters an enemy unit, it will morph into a unit of the opponent's race. So, for example, if the opponent is Terran, it will morph into a Terran Marine that will be the same color as the player, as the opponent, rather. So you can use them to kind of stealth around, sneak around the base, see what's up. And if they mouse over it, they can tell it's yours, so it's very likely that it will be destroyed, but generally they won't see it for the first few seconds. So the other ability that the Overseer has is called Contaminate. This basically, I'm hovering over the tooltip right now, it's pretty self-explanatory. Once you spew this on the target structure, it will be unable to train units for 30 seconds. So definitely a good thing to use if you are assaulting a base and you have a few extra Overseers. Send them in to the opponent's base and shut down their buildings while you attack so they cannot reinforce the fight. So I'm going to go ahead and send this Overseer back up here, as you guys now understand what is up with that. And I'm going to move on back to the Baneling here. I am kind of ADDing a little bit around here, skipping around to the various topics kind of randomly. But I'm doing the best I can, as Zerg are just so awesome, it overwhelms me. So this is the Baneling. It is a suicide unit. Pretty much you just send it in to attack. We'll attack this. Oh, daggone it, I think it hit. Okay, well, we will find something else to attack. Roach! We'll attack you. Poor Roach. Boom. Okay, you see, it has now done not a lot of damage. You're probably thinking, wow, that kind of was crappy for, you know, a suicidal unit. Well, what these units are specifically meant for, they're meant to attack groups of light units. You'll see that the Zergling, for example, is a light unit. And let's see here. Oh, here it is. Okay, you'll see damage 24. You see, so it did 24 damage to the Roach, but you'll see versus light it does 43. So I'm going to go ahead, move the Zergling out here, and blow it up. You'll see it died in one hit, as the Zergling only has 35 hit points. So that is how the Baneling works. Pretty much they're good versus groups of light units, such as the Zergling pile right here. If I were an enemy and I found this and I had an Overlord with a couple Banelings in it, I could drop them right on top of this and it would just kill that whole thing. So very powerful units when used correctly. In addition, they also have the ability to kind of do an AoE explode whenever you want them to. And they also can attack structures for 90 damage. This is very useful for breaking Terran walls, like at the ramp where they put supply depots. Only a few banelings are required to take down the supply depot. So keep that in mind. It's a very good early tactic. Some people consider it cheese, but basically you just make a bunch of Zerglings, make a couple banelings, bust through the Terran wall, and just have at their base. So I'm going to go ahead, explode this guy for no apparent reason whatsoever other than purely for my own entertainment. Go ahead and expand the creep here. As we do have all of our drones sitting here very bored, I'm going to go ahead and send them down here to the high yield, so that way they are not completely bored here. So, continuing on with the tutorial, I'm going to go ahead and look at the iconic Hydralisk. Come on, if you played Starcraft 1, you know all about the Hydralisk. It really has not changed too terribly much from Starcraft 1. It still slithers around, shoots spines, it can burrow, it can unburrow, and it can burrow and unburrow again just because it's so cool looking. So that's the Hydra. It also does have a attack upgrade, which I did get a few minutes ago. It pretty much just increases the range at which they can attack. One thing you need to keep in mind when playing as Zerg is that the Zerg Hydralisks do not have the movement upgrade that they did from StarCraft 1. They do move very quickly on creep, as you can see. However, if you get them off of creep here, which I will do in just a second, you will see they slow down to a crawl. So, just again, further kind of puts the importance on having creep and expanding it through the map. And I'm going to go ahead and continue to do that. And really, by now, you should have creep all the way down to the opponent's base, like coming up on their ramp, or at least as far down as you can. So, anyways, back to the units here. We're going to go back to the base, and here is the Mutalisk, again, a unit that most Zerg fans will recognize. They function exactly like the Mutalisk from StarCraft 1. They do have the bouncing attack. Goes 9 to 3 to 1 in terms of damage. And, yeah, they're pretty much just good for hit and run. Really good for, taking out drones at an expansion, which if I had drones here still, you would see that. And then they're really shine the slower the opponent's forces are. So let's say that it's Terran and they went mech. Mech is pretty slow to get around the map. So you can come up here, hit the economy of the Terran player. The Terran player will react and send their units up there. And then while he is sending his units up there, you can fly down and hit the workers down here at this expansion. This Muta harassment is very powerful versus certain opponents, such as Terran mech. And it is not so great versus an opponent that is going heavy air, but like I said, the Mutas are very fast, very strong at what they do, so they definitely have a place in the Zerg arsenal. This is another flying unit that is new to StarCraft 2. It is called the Corruptor, and it works a little bit like the Devourer, a little bit. It's a heavy aerial unit. It's meant to engage large ships such as the battlecruiser and whatnot. And it does have the ability called Corruption, which increases the damage taken by the unit that is that you put this on for 20% for 30 seconds. So a little bit like the Devourer, kinda. So we're going to go ahead and send this down here. This does morph into another unit called the Broodlord, which replaced the Guardian from StarCraft 1. We'll get to that in just a few minutes here. And while I'm explaining the other unit here, I'm going to go ahead and